What's up guys, it's Flossin. So the other day, I was running some tests with Sambi and Trigger, just trying to compare clear times with and without their signature W engines. But while I was cycling through Trigger's setups, something hit me. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I noticed 3 words in her signature engine that ruin it for a ton of current and future agents. So in today's video, we're gonna talk about signature W engines. More specifically triggers, because she's the worst offender of this design issue, and honestly, I'm a little concerned about the direction the devs might be going. If you find this video informative, or just enjoy it at all, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It's completely free and lets me know that you enjoy this type of content. Now, with formalities out of the way, let's talk games. So, signature weapons. They're the bane of everyone's existence in gacha games. Unless you play Wuthering Waves and yours is guaranteed. Signature W engines are 5-star weapons tailor-made for one specific agent. Their passives are designed to perfectly complement that agent's kit. And in a lot of cases, they're so specific or strong that running anything else can feel like a huge downgrade. So when a new agent drops, sometimes you're not just pulling for the character. You're often expected to go for their W engine too if you want the full experience. Now, just to be clear, you don't have to pull their engine. You can totally use other options, and I personally do that all the time. Sometimes an agent is worth grabbing without the engine, and sometimes the engine is so good that it's worth picking up without the agent. But then we get into Trigger's signature W engine. Okay, so what's my issue with Trigger's W engine? Well, she's the only agent in the game who can use it. And I get it. I know how that sounds at face value. Of course, Floss. It's her signature weapon. She's supposed to be the only one who can use it at max potential. And yes, I agree. I'm not asking other agents to use her engine at max potential. That's not the problem. The problem is this engine is written in a way where no one else in the entire game can even trigger the passive at all. Let me show you. Here's what the passive says. When the equipper's aftershock hits an enemy, causing electric damage, the target's defense is reduced by 25% for 5 seconds. Then it goes on to say, when the previous passive is triggered, your impact increases by whatever amount. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, I said earlier that there's 3 words that completely ruin this W engine. And those 3 words are this: causing electric damage. That one clause completely nukes this engine's usability for every other agent in the game, because to proc this passive, the agent has to 1. Be a stun agent, 2. Deal aftershock attacks, and 3. Those aftershock attacks have to be electric. And guess who checks all of those boxes? Only Trigger. So you can't use this on Qingyi, despite her being stun and electric. You can't use it on A rank Ambi, despite her being stun and electric. Hell, you can't even use it on Pulchra, who's literally an aftershock agent because she doesn't deal electric damage. So if you don't have Trigger, this engine becomes nothing more than a 5-star stat stick. And if I'm being totally honest, that's just bad design. I dove into the database and looked at the other S-rank W engines, and even though most are clearly tailor-made for their paired agent, none of them have a passive this exclusive. Take Qingyi's engine for example. You stack up T-Rific up to 30 times with her basic attacks to get the most out of this engine. Qingyi and maybe Lighter can build that. If you put it on someone like Kaleda or A-rank Ambi, yeah, you won't get the full 30 stacks, but at least something still procs from this engine. Same deal with Yanagi's signature W engine, Time Weaver. You can still use it on Grace. Sure, it's not as effective because Grace has to proc Disorder for it to work, but you're not locked out of the passive entirely. And this is my point. The other engines still work to a degree. Triggers though? It doesn't. If you can't trigger the first effect, the second never happens. It's quite literally just dead text. And now we're in a situation where the value of this engine depends on the hope that one day we'll get another electric aftershock stun agent. And I mean, surely, right? Surely we're gonna get another stun agent who deals aftershock attacks that are electric, right? Surely we're not just overdosing on copium. And that's why I don't like this design direction. It opens the door to future W engines being locked behind one specific agent with zero flexibility. And we've already seen what happens when we let this philosophy slide. Look at Casterus and Honkai Star Rail. Her light cone is so tailor-made and so overpowered that if you don't have it, your next best option is literally a stat stick. A stat stick of a path she doesn't follow in the game, by the way. Even other Remembrance light cones don't come close unless you spend money. You quite literally can't use the free 5-star Remembrance free-to-play option because of how poorly it functions with her in the game. Now, I don't play HSR anymore, but I saw the shift happen during Acheron's release, and it started with this same type of logic. It's fine, it's just one weapon, until it wasn't just one weapon. Also, keep in mind, W engine banners are not guaranteed in Zenless. You have to win a 50-50 on the agent and a 75-25 on the engine. So even if you save, you could still get screwed over. It's honestly hard enough to secure an agent, but if more of these one agent only engines start popping up, the pain only gets worse. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is how this design limits team building. I already pointed out earlier how most S-rank signature W engines still end up being great options for other characters, depending on how you play. That flexibility is what makes pulling for a W engine feel worth it, even if you skip the agent. For example, I'm personally planning to go for Caesar's W engine when she gets a rerun. Not because I want Caesar, but because her engine looks amazing for how I want to play Seth. It makes his shield tankier, and whenever he interrupts an enemy, it gives a huge team-wide damage boost. And if you've seen Seth gameplay, you already know this guy is absolutely nuts at interrupting enemies. I'm actually planning on building him next patch. EO showed me the light with his Seth guide. Seth T0, by the way.
Yo, Seth is the GOAT.
But that's what I mean when I say team options stay open when W engines have some sort of flexibility. Caesar's engine gives me new ways to build my team, even though I'm not using her directly. But Trigger's W engine doesn't let me do that. Again, I don't care if it works best on her, but I start caring when you have to fulfill 3 different conditions: stun, aftershock attacks. Those aftershock attacks have to do electric damage before the passive even turns on. That's when it stops being a signature weapon and starts being a character exclusive gimmick. And to me, that's bad game design. But yeah, I think that's enough yapping out of me. Guys, look, I love making positive content for Zenless. I really do, but sometimes I gotta call out stuff that doesn't sit right. And whenever I do, there's always a portion of people who understand and a portion that just says, stop playing the game then. And you know what? You're right. I'll just stop playing the game. Hey, it's me, I'm back. Sorry, I have a gotcha addiction.
The blade is drawn.
All jokes aside, this could really spiral if we're not vocal. And because of that, this whole thing has me really curious. What do you guys think? How do you feel about Trigger's W engine now that I've shared my piece? Do you agree or disagree with my take? And do you think we'll get more engines that are locked behind agents? Or is this just a one-time thing? Let me know in the comments down below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like down below. It's completely free and lets me know that you enjoy this type of content. Until next time though, happy gaming.
Bye.
And may your pulls be ever in your favor.